Good morning, tribe, and welcome to Beginner's Yoga. We're going to start standing today just to get the body warmed up and energized for the morning. My name is Shonda. I'll be guiding you through your practice today. So if you have your blocks and a strap, go ahead and have them handy. We'll offer variations throughout the class today so that we can start to build strength and support in our practice. So come to the top of our mat. We'll go ahead and get started right away. So today I'm facing east. The sun's rising, so it's beautiful and bright and warming. So let's make sure we're grounded into the feet. We're going to find our mountain pose, Savasana. So making sure that all four corners of the feet are finding the mat, the inner and outer edges of the feet, the heels, maybe even lifting the toes and gently relaxing them down one at a time, perhaps rocking gently from front to back. Draw the shoulders down and away from the ears. Palms shine forward, crown of the head is lifting as you continue to press through the feet, as if you're pressing away from the mat with the feet. Then we begin to feel this engagement in the quadriceps, the legs, tailbone reaches down towards the mat. The core is hugging up and lifting it up. Nice and strong here. So we'll just take a few moments, a few breaths to take in this stable stance, finding your mountain. This is a pose of empowerment, to really stand tall and proud. Thankful for making it to our mats this morning. Continue pressing through the feet as you reach through the crown of the head, growing lots of length in the spine, creating space between each vertebrae. Let's just take a moment to tap into our inner experience, focusing on the breath, staying engaged with the body. Continue to breathe. Nice inhalations, exhalations, in and out through the nose. Spend a few moments in a few breaths of silent meditation here. So really just taking in all of your external awareness and internal awareness, having them unify as one, becoming the experience. Noticing any breath that are holding the body or the breath, perhaps the mind. Just noticing, no judgments here. Begin to deepen the breath. Nice big belly breath. So inhaling all the way through the low belly. Allowing it to lift to the low ribs. Exhaling through the chest, ribs, belly button thrust up and inward towards the spine. Continue to deepen the breath, each inhalation a little more deep, each exhalation a little more complete. If it's in your practice to find Ujjayi breath or ocean's breath, that's a slight constriction in the back throat that elongates the inhalations and exhalations. It's a great way to quiet the mind, quiet the breath, quiet the body. And from here, we'll prepare for some movement. So, finding some wiggling into the feet and the toes. We'll inhale, draw the arms up and above our head, reach nice and tall to the sky. Exhale, folding forward. So here, this is our first forward fold, or Uttanasana of the day. So feel free to bend into the left and to the right leg, just stretching out the back of the hamstrings. Keep the core engaged here. So we're protecting the low back area. If your hands don't find the floor, you can also have support below, so the blocks can serve as a support for lifting the ground up to you. You can have the blocks at any height. So see, there's 3 different heights here. Feel what feels good for you. Inhale, take a nice half lift. So roll the shoulders down the back. Crown of the head reaches forward as the gaze is just a few inches or feet in front of you. So nice flat back here. Draw the core in. And exhale, release back down to your forward fold. Find some stillness here. Shift the weight to the tops of the toes. Allow the heels to extend down to the mat. So we're elongating the back of the thighs here, the back of the legs, lifting the tailbone up. Crown of the head is releasing down to the mat, maybe shaking the head no, shaking the head yes. Let's take a moment to grasp on the outside of the elbows here. So we're framing the head with the elbows, really allowing the head to hang nice and heavy here. Notice the more that you draw the belly button up and in towards the spine, the more lift you'll get in the tailbone. Also protecting the low back, keeping that nice engagement. Perhaps you start to sway from side to side, just opening up the sides of the body. Good, release the hands down to the mat. So from here, let's step the right foot back. So you can have the blocks available, stepping the right foot back, coming into your runner's lunge. So if your runner's lunge, you want to have the blocks just framing the outside of the foot. You can have them again at any height. We want to stay nice and strong and engaged. So press firmly through that left foot, reaching and extending through the right heel, keeping engagement in that back leg. You can lift up off of that left thigh. If you can find some height here, but stay nice and strong in your foundation. Let's take a few breaths in and out here. Be in this pose. Find your Ujjayi breath, your yogic breathing. Good. You can release the blocks and step that left foot back to meet the right, coming into plank position. Release the knees down to the mat. Sit the hips back to the heels, finding your child's pose. So here in child's pose, know that this position is a position that you can take at any point through your practice today. If you start to feel like your body needs some additional support or to catch up with the breath, finding that deep yogic breathing. So really shifting the breath to the back body, the sacrum area.
Crown of the head can again rest on a block or perhaps the mat. This pose is also a great activation pose for recharging the body, the digestive tract. Good, let's inhale, reach the fingers nice and wide, press into the mat with the fingers, and bring ourselves up to tabletop position. So if you have a blanket available, I want to encourage you to use a blanket underneath the knees. We want to always protect the knee joints. Even if we don't have any issues with the knees, we want to protect that from happening. So find your nice foundation here. Spread your fingertips nice and wide like starfish. Press the pads of the fingers into the mat. This assists in any wrist pain or dumping all the weight into the wrists. Draw the belt abdomen up and in so you're finding this nice strong tabletop. Gaze is just a few inches up towards the top of the mat, crown of the head reaching forward. So the knees should be about hip distance apart and at hip height. Elbows in line with the wrists and wrists directly below the shoulders. Tops of the ankles are pressing into the mat. We're finding full engagement here in our tabletop. Good. From here, let's tuck the toes under. So shift the weight back. See if you can stretch out the toes, opening up the feet and the toes. The feet don't get a lot of love. I feel like throughout our practice or exercise routine, so it's important to acknowledge the feet. They say those with open feet, open toes, have an open mind. So be mindful of that. So then press into the mat and begin to lift the knees and hips up and back, finding your downward facing dog. Again, find that nice grip with the mat. So you want to almost grip the mat with the fingertips. Lift the hips nice and high. Crown of the head is reaching down towards the mat. Still finding engagement. Ears in line with the biceps. Really lift the tailbone up by drawing that low belly in. We call that the Muladhara Bandha, or the Mula Bandha. Sorry, Muladhara is the chakra center, the root center. So really drawing that in, see how it extends the low or the back, creating space between each vertebrae. Lift up through the ribs, spread the shoulders nice and wide. Finding your Ujjayi breath here. You can paddle in to the left and to the right leg, just opening up the backs of the legs, calf muscles. Once you find that nice, perfect edge, go ahead and settle into some stillness. Nice, deep Ujjayi or ocean's breath here. The heels may not meet the mat, and that's okay. They may in time. Let's look up at the top of the mat. Draw that right knee in towards the chest and the nose and step the right foot forward. So know that if you can't get the right foot forward all the way for a 90-degree angle, you can always release the back knee and use the assistance of the hand to walk that right foot up to the top of the mat. Again, you can use your blocks for some additional support. Press firmly into the foot. The knee should be directly over the ankle. We don't want it to fall inward or outward. Just making sure we have that nice alignment. So press firmly through that left heel. I'm going to move through these poses pretty slowly at first. So you can spread the toes nice and wide. Press into the inner edge of the foot and outer edge of the foot. Nice balanced movement here. Draw the belly in. Lift through the crown of the head. See if you can lift up off of that right thigh so we're not dumping all the weight in, and make sure the hips are squared off to the mat. Find your breath. Relax the shoulders. I can see I'm tensing in the shoulders. Good. Releasing the hands down to the mat. Draw that left foot forward to meet the right. Finding our Uttanasana forward fold once again. See if you take notice in the difference between your first forward fold and the forward fold now. Maybe you've had some tiny micro movement, which is progress. Practice makes progress. Good. Inhale, lift up halfway. Remember, shoulders draw down, the back, crown of the head reaches forward, low belly draws in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, take a bend in, a slight bend into the knees. Lift the arms up and above the head, finding your extended Tadasana. Reach the hands together, prayer position, and down through center midline, Uttanasana. Forgot my haircut this morning. So find your Pranayama, your mountain pose. Maybe move a little faster through this next round on the opposite side. But for now, just take a moment to notice the difference between the right and the left side body. And softly close the eyes. Find some integration. Take time to acknowledge yourself for the practice you've already started today, making it to your mat. Good. Release the eyes, flutter the eyes open. Release the hands out to the side. So inhale, lifting up nice and tall, reaching through the fingertips. And exhale, you can either swan dive forward or move through prayer position. Keep the back belly engaged. Good. Releasing for Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift or Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Again, placing the hands on the blocks or the mat. Step the left foot back. Finding your runner's lunge. So take some time to really feel into the pose. Make sure the hips are squared off so you're not dumping out to the left or to the right. So feel free to play around with that. Really find your posture here. Press into the inner and outer edges of the feet as you extend through that left heel. Reach through the crown of the head, keeping that back leg nice and strong. Full body engagement here, just as we are in mountain. Good, releasing the blocks. Step that right foot back to meet the left, coming into top of a push-up or plank position. So from here, you can release the knees down to the mat for some additional support while we build strength in the core. Keep the fingertips spread nice and wide. Elbows hug into the rib cage. So shifting forward, drawing the elbows in, hugging them in, chest and chin come down, Ashtanga Namaskar. Good, inhale, lifting up for half cobra or baby cobra. Exhale, release the forehead down to the top of the mat. Inhale, pressing the hips back to the heels, finding your child's pose. Inhale, coming up through tabletop. And exhale, tucking the toes, lift the hips back and up for downward facing dog. Let's take 5 breaths in and out here. Spread the fingers wide, grip the mat. Press away from the mat with the hands, lifting up and out of the wrist joints. Spread the shoulders nice and wide along the back. Draw the low belly in, lift the hips. Allow the ankles and feet to soften down towards the mat. Good, looking up at the top of the mat, draw that left knee in to the chest and step the left foot forward to the top of the mat, finding the runner's lunge. I recognize that we're moving really slow, but I just want to point out the really key alignments for the body so that when you're practicing maybe at a faster pace or for a flow, you have some cues in your mind to adjust the body. And you'll find what feels really good. Your body has muscle memory. Nice breaths in and out. Keep the left knee hugging inward, everything hugging together. Good, remove the blocks and step that right foot forward to meet the left, finding your Uttanasana forward fold. Good, inhale, maybe a slight bend in the knees, engaging the core, lifting the arms up above the head. Maybe a slight back bend here, hands can lead a prayer. And exhale, hands down center midline, meeting at the heart center for Uttanasana. Again, softly close the eyes here. Finding some integration, noticing the left and the right side. Notice how your body has already warmed up. You can allow the hands to come down along the sides, finding your mountain position, your Tadasana. Good, we'll take another sun salute. Well, it's Ashtanga Series B. So as we practice here, I might add a little variation here, but take a nice deep inhale, allow the eyes to softly open, ready for movement. Inhale, lift the arms up above the head, maybe a slight back bend. Exhale, folding forward. From here, bend deeply into the knees, palms of the hands reach to the outer edges of the feet and ankles. And inhale, reaching up through Uttanasana, chair pose. Keep the knees hugging together in chair. If you have your block available, you can place it between the thighs, feeling that engagement, allowing the tailbone to reach down towards the mat. Deep breaths in and out here. Soften the shoulders, reach to the fingers. Keeping engagement in the feet and the legs. Good, hands come back down. Releasing down to your forward fold. Inhale, lifting up halfway. And exhale, forward fold. Step the right foot back, finding the runner's lunge briefly. Release the right heel down to the mat, keeping the hips nice and square. Perhaps you want to widen your stance. You'll have to feel what feels right for you. Inhale, lifting up for warrior one. In warrior one, we want to press into the outer edge of the right foot. Keep that left knee bent. Lifting through the fingertips, spreading them nice and wide, keeping the shoulders down and away from the ears. Hips are squared off to the mat. So the tendency might be you want to kind of open up here, but we really want to shift our weight in our hips squared off. Beautiful warriors. Good, release the hands down to the mat. Lift the heel off the mat, the right heel off the mat, and step the left foot back. Coming into top of a push-up. So Chaturanga is in your practice. You shift forward onto the toes. Keep the elbows hugging in. Slowly lowering yourself down. Press through the hands, lift up through up dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Now remember from our classical sun salute that we did at the beginning, you can always move through Ashtanga Namaskara, where your knees, chest and chin release down to the mat. Come into Cobra as a variation of up dog. So just find what feels good for you, your body. Every day is different. Just feel into it. Good, looking up towards the top of the mat. Draw that right knee in, step the right foot forward. Release the left heel down to the mat at a 45-degree angle. Find your footing. Inhale, lift up. Coming into our warrior one on the opposite side. So again, pressing to the outer edge of the left heel, keeping that left foot engaged, left leg engaged. Stay nice and strong. Lifted, drawing the belly in, so we're not overarching the back. Soften the facial features and smile. Good, release the hands down to the mat. Draw the left heel off the mat and step the right foot back, moving into either Ashtanga Namaskara or Chaturanga Dandasana. So Ashtanga Namaskara is release the knees, chest and chin, and come into Cobra or Up Dog. And we will all meet in Downward Facing Dog. Good, finding 5 breaths in and out here. Running through your checklist. Making sure we have equal lengths on both side bodies. Keep pressing away from the mat with the hands. Low belly draws up and inward. Quadriceps engaged. Perhaps the gaze coming up to the thighs. Good. Looking forward to the top of the mat, you can walk, step, or jump yourself up to the top. Feeding in our Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale, folding forward. Finishing out with chair, take a deep bend into the knees. Palms face inward. Inhale, lift up through the chest, torso, and arms, finding your Uttanasana chair pose. Again, if you want to place a block or imagine a block between the thighs, keeping some engagement. We don't want to round or arch in the back, so we really want to draw that tailbone down towards the mat. Keep the abs engaged. Good, start to straighten into the knees, hands come together for position. Finding your Samasthiti, Pranayama. Beautiful. So I'm going to do a time check really quick here. You can stay just noticing. Okay, good. You can just stay noticing the body here, integrating for what you've already completed today. We'll move into some additional postures. So for here, just be here, being with the breath each moment in and out. Good, preparing for movement, you can softly open the eyes, inhale the arms up and above the head, reach nice and tall, slight back bend here, press the hips forward, keep the legs engaged, core engaged, and exhale, folding forward. Shake the head out, inhale, lift halfway, exhale, forward fold. Good, releasing the right foot back on the mat, finding your runner's lunge. Perhaps you shift forward and back here, just opening up the hip flexor and the back of the left leg a little deeper. Good, from here, let's draw the left hand on the inside of the right or left foot. And also you can have a block here handy, again at any height or any level. We're going to inhale, we're going to reach that right arm up to the sky. Keep pressing through the back heel. Stay nice and strong and engaged. You have a great view of the moon right now. Beautiful. So perhaps the gaze comes up over the fingertips left. Knee is hugging inward as you extend through the right heel. Good. Release the hands back down to the mat. Find the right hand on the inside of the left foot. Left hand can come back towards the outer edge, and we're going to move to a twist in the opposite direction. So inhaling, reaching, and extending through. Now, if you have a deeper practice and you want to find a wrap here, you may do so as well. Otherwise, let's just be here. Keep that left knee hugging inward. Good. Releasing the hands down, framing the foot. Step that left foot back to meet the right. Find our Chaturanga Dandasana, where you shift forward onto the toes. Keep the shoulders plugged in. Releasing down, coming up for inhale, up dog. Keep the legs engaged here. And then exhale, you can either move through tabletop or just come straight into your downward facing dog. Three more deep yogic breaths here. Feel free to keep a slight bend in the knees if you wish, if your hamstrings are still tight. Good, looking up at the top of the mat, step that right knee and foot forward. Again, using your support if you need to, walking that right foot forward. 90-degree angle between the knee and ankle. Once you're found your stance, your stability, and shift forward and back a little, opening up a little more. Just moving with your breath though, don't forget the breath. Nice deep inhale, lengthening through the lunge, and then exhale, coming into like a head to knee almost. Notice how good that feels within the body. Good. From here, you can have the block available. Draw that right hand on the inside of the right foot. Keep that right knee hugging inward, so it's almost pressing in towards your shoulder, your elbow. Inhale, reaching up towards the sky. Keep pressing firmly through that back foot. Nice and strong. Stay lifted, stay strong. Good, release that left hand down to where the right is. Draw the right arm up. Inhale, reach. Again, you may notice a difference between the right and the left side when we're moving here. Keep that right knee hugging in and you'll feel a difference. Perhaps you feel it on the outside of the right hip. Beautiful. Release the hands down. Let's step the right foot back. We'll come right into our downward facing dog. So opening up that back. Again, feel free to take a child's pose if you wish. Really lift the hips, extend space between each vertebrae. Good. Inhale, looking up at the top of the mat. Again, you can walk, step, or jump yourself forward, coming into your forward fold Uttanasana. Really press into the tops of the feet, the toes. as you press and extend through the heels. So shifting the weight forward a bit. Allow the head to hang nice and heavy. Getting kind of hot here with my hair. Good. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bring the arms up and above the head, sweep them up nice and tall. Slight back bend here. Exhale, hands meet at heart center, Samasthiti, Uttanasana. Then from here, let's bring the hands to the hips and heel toe the feet out towards the outer edge of the mat. Toes will point out maybe just a little bit further than the mat. I'm going to face you guys just so you can kind of have a better idea of what we're looking at here. And then as you take a nice deep inhale, press firmly through the feet, lift through the crown of the head, draw the abdomen in. Exhale, begin to sit yourself down. We're going to come into a yogi squat, so feel free to adjust your stance here. Try to have the heels meet the mat. If they don't, that's okay. If you have your block handy, this is a great resource and a great tool at any height as you're still opening up the hips. You want to make sure that the chest and heart are lifted here. So we're going to press the elbows gently into the knees as the knees also create some opposition and press into the hands. Feel that opening in the low back. So again, feel free to use the block for some support. So this actually feels really nice for me to use the block for some support. This helps me move a little deeper into my posture, a little deeper into the stretch. Also helps my chest and heart stay open and lifted, crown of the head lifted. If you don't need the block, that's okay too. You just want to make sure that we're not dumping forward. We want to lift nice and high, nice and tall. So good. Again, remembering the full body engagement, remembering breath. Good, release the hands down to the mat and begin to straighten into the knees. Keep the core engaged. Coming into a little bit of a wide-legged forward fold. And heel toe the feet out, maybe a little wider if that feels good for you. And have the toes pointing towards the long edge of the mat. And find the wide-legged forward fold here. Lift up through the tailbone, reach through the backs of the legs, the feet. Maybe even shift the weight forward. Grow a little taller in the spine. Then you can have that block available or handy. Keep the abdomen engaged, core lifted up and inwards, so we're protecting the low back, not overextending. Here, find a bind, so grabbing a hold of the hands, interlacing the fingers, if you can. If it's in, if you need to just reach the hands together, that's okay too. If they don't meet or they don't interlace, that's all right. We just want to energetically draw the palms together. So from here, begin to lift the palms of the hands up off of the back. Finding a nice opening in front of the chest and the shoulders. Good, releasing the hands back down. Inhale, coming up halfway. Exhale, holding forward. Inhale, press into the feet, draw the core in, and bring the hands to the hips. Finding a nice tall stance here. Let's heel toe the feet, or let's bring the heels in, toes point towards the outer edge of the mat. We're going to move into your goddess pose here. So taking a bend into the knees, so the hands can remain at the hips. You can also bring them at heart center. You may also bring them out to the side for cactus arms, maybe doing a little mudra. Or you could bring them above the head, finding the lotus mudra, which is really nice too. Keep reaching that tailbone down. Core is engaged. Knees pressing outward. Opening up the hips here. Good. Hands come together, heart center. Hands come to the hips and straighten into the knees. Let's inhale, reach the arms up nice and tall. We're going to come into this 5-pointed star. Good. Draw the hands together. Heart center. Hands come to the hips. Heel toe the feet. Back to center. And walking yourself to the top of the mat. I don't have my phone today, so keep checking on the time. You're doing a great job. And find yourself at the top of the mat. Hands can release down by the side, finding your mountain, your pose of empowerment, integrating your practice. Go ahead and open the eyes. Inhale, lift up and extend. Really reach. See, you can press forward with those hips a little deeper. And then exhale, finding your forward fold. Let's inhale, step both feet back, finding your top of a push-up plank position. So from here, if you want to release the knees to the mat, finding some additional support, you may do so. Otherwise, you can keep the feet lifted, press away from the mat with the hands, engage the core. We're going to move into side plank. So know that if your knees are down on the mat for some support, that's okay too. Let's shift over onto the right hand. So again, your hand can be at your hip, can be lifted. If you'd like some additional support for variation here, you can always draw this top leg forward. So it's like a little kickstand. So that actually feels nice as a variation as well. Keep lifting the hips. Press away from the mat. Gaze can come up towards the hand. So strong. Good. Releasing back, coming back to center. Top of a push-up. You're in plank position. Shifting your weight over onto the left hand. Again, opening up for side plank. Keep those hips nice and lifted. Press away from the mat with the hand. And then gripping into the mat again. If you want to find a variation, you can place that right foot in front of you. Keep lifting through the hips. Remember your breathing. Don't hold your breath. Good. Making your way back down. Coming back into plank position or knees release to the mat. Actually, let everyone release the knees to the mat. Sit the hips back to the heels. Find child's pose for a few moments. Find your breath, breathing into the low back. Let go of any thoughts that are no longer serving you through the third eye, meeting the mat, the earth. Allow it to be recycled, Turning into something beautiful. Good. Let's prepare for movement. Press the hands into the mat. Sit yourself back to tabletop position. Let's make our way over on to our seats. Bring the legs out nice and long here in front of you. Sit up nice and tall. If you have a blanket, you could sit up on a block, but that might be a little high. But if you have a blanket, you can always fold it in two and allow the sits bones to come at the edge of the surface of the mat. I don't have time to grab my blanket this morning. So sit up nice and tall. Press the palms of the hands alongside the hips. Keep the feet flexed, engaging the quadriceps. Draw the belly in. Shoulders hugging together. Elbows hugging into the sides. Press into the mat. We're coming into staff pose, Dandasana. Deep breaths in and out here. Lift the crown of the head. Press into the mat. It's almost as if you're lifting the hips up off the mat. Good. Release and soften. Take a moment to draw that right knee. Hug it in nice and tight. Bring it into the chest. Then we're going to do a bit of something a little different called rock the cradle. So what you're going to do is draw your right knee into your elbow. Place the sole of the foot into the kind of the crease of the left arm. So you're almost going to be like holding this little baby, right? So sit up nice and tall. Keep that left foot engaged. Lift up through the torso, feeling that stretch in the low back, the outer hip. And then we're going to just take a moment to shift side to side. So opening up the hip joints. This feels really nice. Good. Finding some stillness. Lift and extend. Exhale, release that foot from your hold and draw that right foot on the inside of the left thigh. Bring the left foot out just a bit, so it's kind of at a little bit of an angle. Right foot is pressing into the inner groin. Inhale, reach and extend, lengthen through the fingertips. Shift the chest and torso over that extended left leg. Take a nice deep inhale here. Exhale, begin to fold forward over that left leg. So notice if you want to go ahead and run right for the toes or the ankles, but just be here for now. Making sure that the torso is directly over the extended leg. Lead with the chest and the chin. So we want to keep a nice flat back, if you will. Keep length in the spine. Good. See if you can soften down a little deeper. So with each inhalation, finding length and space in the vertebrae, creating space in all directions. And then as you exhale, notice how your body shifts down a little deeper, maybe tiny micro movements. But again, practice is progress. If you have a lot of flexibility and you want to grab a hold of the outside of the ankle or the outside of the feet, feel free to do that as well, but don't force it. Just be okay with where you are. Everything is a practice. Everything in life. There's no final destination. There's no ending. There's no final posture to get to. It's all practice. Dedication, devotion. Good. Release the hands down by the sides. Use the hands to walk yourself back up to seated. Draw the right knee in. And release it long out on the mat. Draw the left leg back into center. And we'll move on. So hug that left knee in. Place the left knee into the crease of the left arm. I'm a little tight in this hip. And then pressing that right foot into the crease of the right arm. So again, lifting and extending. And then perhaps rocking the baby. I can't remember if they say rock the cradle or rock the baby. But anyways, nonetheless, it's a great posture. Keep the toes flexed. The right foot and the left foot to protect the knees. Good. Find some stillness here. A few breaths in and out. Good. Release that left knee out to the side. Left foot comes onto the inner part of the right thigh. Shift the right leg out just a bit. A nice deep inhale. Lift up through the fingertips. Reach, reach, reach. Extend and lengthen. Exhale, turn the torso over the leg. Inhale one more time. Find the length. And exhale, lead with your chest and chin. Allow the hands to fall exactly where they are. Keep length in the spine. Space between the vertebrae. We're not rounding into the low back. Nice deep inhalation. A little more complete exhalation. Keep the chest reaching down towards the knee. Again, if you have some flexibility or you found some extra space with the breath, feel free to grab a hold of the outside of the ankle, the foot, without dumping any of the weight or rounding into the low back. Like once you've found your edge, like that perfect stretch, you can round into the shoulders and the upper back, but you want to keep long in the low back. Good. Release the fingertips down alongside the leg. Walk yourself back up to seated. Let's draw both feet together. And we'll shift actually to the side of the mat. Get the feet together into butterfly pose. And we're slowly going to just walk ourselves down to the mat. Use your elbows or some support. Also know that if you have a large space between the knees and the surface beneath you, you can use your blocks for some additional support. Finding goddess pose. So you're welcome to stay here in goddess for the remainder of your practice, your final resting pose. Hands can be on the abdomen, or perhaps one hand on the heart, one hand on the abdomen. Or you can move into your final posture of the day. Moving into Shavasana so the legs can be out nice and long on the mat. Begin to settle down deeper into the earth beneath you. Ankles are soft, toes fall out to the side. Soften the space between the brows. Facial features, unclenching the teeth in the jaw. Allow the whole face to relax. Notice how the whole body responds. I want to encourage you to stay in your Shavasana for up to 11 minutes. It's kind of a magical number, the 11-minute mark. But take as long as you'd like or can. And find some gratitude and settle into your final resting pose, your Shavasana. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me in your practice today and allowing me to be your guide. We hope to see you next time. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to send me a message in the chat box, which is just below the live studio video. And we hope to see you next time. Just a reminder, there is a Hatha class tomorrow at 8:30 at Yogshala. And feel free to reserve your spot there. Also, there is a 2 p.m. yin class today with me at Yogshala as well. Feel free to check the schedule. If you're local, you can make it to the Yogshala. Otherwise, feel free to check out any of the videos in the video library. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day, tribe.